Hi, this is Kevin Conroy, and you're listening to the Geekcast Radio Network.
You've just jumped inside the pull bag. Join TFG1Mike and the rest of the comic reading crew here at the GCRN as they make their great escape into comics. From DC, Marvel, IDW, Boom Studios, Zenoscope, and more, we have everything you want to read right here. Transformers comics? Yeah, we cover that. He-Man? Yeah, sure. DC superheroes like Batman, Batgirl, Nightwing, and Batman Beyond? Yep, we have those too. How about TMNT from IDW and I Hate Fairyland from Image Comics? Yeah, we have all that here. Plus, so much more. It's all inside the pull bag here on the Geekcast Radio Network. So without any further ado, it's time to talk about the comics we are reading right now here inside the pull bag.
Hello and welcome to The Pull Bag. This is episode 371.5. It's the second week of September, and we are finally done with double episodes per week, folks. If you'll notice, from the beginning of July almost until the beginning of this month, I've had Wednesdays and Saturdays going for The Pull Bag because throughout all of that, we ended up doing Autobotley August, ended up ending, which it already ended, but ending our Transformers coverage for now because IDW ended their universe. In this episode, we return to Batman Beyond Rebirth with JT from Saskatoon, decades from now.
Yes.
Yes, and this is Volume 5, The Final Joke. Ryan, the Evenflow Merkley, was going to be here tonight, but because we're such rebels and have to record at late hours, 7 p.m. Central Time in the U.S., that Ryan had to work in the morning, so he ducked out, and he wanted to be here. I've kind of been inching him towards doing one of these with us, and he likes the Batman Beyond things. He loved the cartoon and all that and everything else, and I'm trying to get him to... He's read most, if not all, of the comics that we've already covered. His main sticking point is he doesn't want them to do things with the old villains anymore. So maybe, as long as we can all get our schedules together, folks, maybe when the next trade comes out, which will, I assume, feature issues 31 through 36 or 37 maybe, the new arc that's currently going on with the new villain Split, maybe Ryan will be on for that one, because that seems like Dan Jurgens just going all... I haven't even read it yet, so I don't even know. I don't want to be spoiled about it. I've read a few things online, but I haven't actually read the comics yet, but it's just one of those things where... And I understand Ryan's point, don't go back to Joker, don't go back to this, but I feel that this final arc or final joke or whatever you want to call it puts a period on the Joker in the Jurgens version of Batman Beyond.
Or does it? Bum, bum, bum.
It does. Come on now.
You're talking about comics, Mike. Resurrections are as plentiful as corn dogs at a fair.
Yes, that's true. However, if you look at between Dan Jurgens' run and what Kyle Higgins did, the Joker in the Batman Beyond universe through DC currently has only come back twice, once in each of their runs, to, have some sort of major impact. And because every writer obviously wants to tell a story based on BTAS, that DCAU continuity of Joker, and this is kind of, even though this did it in a roundabout way, this is still kind of that classic DCAU book in my eyes. I have to say, first off, I love the individual covers.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely love them. Writing on this, Dan Jurgens. The pencils were done by Brett Booth and Cully Hammer. Marco Santucci, Evan Doc Shaner. Inkers were Norm Rapamon, yay Norm, Cully Hamner, Marco Santucci, and Evan Doc Shaner. Colorists were Andrew Dahlhaus, Val Staples. Really? Is that really the right one? I wonder. The guy that runs He-Man.org. Jordi Belair. The letterer was Travis Lanham. And the collection cover artist was Victor Kavalechev. Whoever does the individual covers, the main covers, they look so sleek, and I absolutely dig them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the painted cover we got, which I think is from, issue 26 or...
Oh, it's 25.
20. Is that straight up 25? I thought that was like 26 or 27. I mean, I love that. It kind of evokes the old. God, I can't remember his name. He used to do all the sweet painted posters in the 80s.
I was going to say Adi Granov, but
well, it evokes that to me because I've got that, and I love some of the internal covers. Like when you get into the trade, the first one you see with Terry and Matt flying, that's Mark Bagley, who's like top 5 all-time favorite Spider-Man artists for me, followed by some Brett Booth, and then there's the one shot of, I think that's Bruce or Dick in the armored bat suit.
Yeah.
That's Cully Hammer. So many good artists in this run.
Yeah. I mainly am talking about the actual main interior covers, the issue covers. So the one where it's Batman upside down with the bat signal in red, that was, I believe, the main cover for issue 25. Yes, the trade cover with the Joker, I believe, is from issue, like you said, 26, 27.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Indeed. But we're back to Neo Gotham. I was talking with a friend of mine on Facebook yesterday. Said, like, what are you doing? Like, I'm going to be recording another episode of the Pull Bag with Mike, and we're going to be talking about, Batman Beyond again. So I went back and I reread the previous trade, and there was something in there I forgot to mention the last time. They mentioned one of the disciples of Dr. Jonathan Crane, which is something I hadn't considered before. Like, we all know from the animated series and the previous comics, like, the Jokers are the disciples of Mr. J.
Right.
Now, it never occurred to me that some of the other Batman Rogues Gallery would have followers of a sort as well, which makes me wonder if they might do this again in the future. Have somebody like, Poison Ivy and have, like, a bunch of eco-terrorists inspired by her, some such like that. Might be fun.
Yeah, it might be. At the same time, I do agree with Ryan's feeling of we need new and different villains for Terry and Matt and Bruce and everybody. And as I said, this upcoming arc after this one seems to be, even though Dan Jurgens does use Falseface, but the split is a whole new, just like when Kyle Higgins created Rewire, a whole new kind of thing for the universe. So we open with the train coming into Gotham decades from now, and paging Mayor Grayson. So Dick Grayson is the mayor of Bloodhaven.
As you do.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly, far be it from the Nick Fury-esque Grayson we saw a couple of volumes ago.
Yes.
In another timeline. But yeah, and he's here, looking all studly with his beard, and he's got the Mr. Fantastic hair, and his daughter. It's like, ooh, I wonder who the mother was. Definitely not Barb.
No, I don't think so. I'm thinking maybe Catwoman? I don't know.
I'd suggest Tarantula, but that's the one that kind of raped Dick in the original Nightwing series, and I highly doubt they're going to go back to that. But yeah, Dick and his, daughter / personal assistant are coming to Gotham for the dedication of this new family center that Bruce has built. And we get this, we get a flashback to way back in the day, and I didn't know Batman had a bat nightstick in his utility belt. Because, like, he pulls off this little tab and looks vaguely bat-shaped, and the next thing you know, it's like tick, 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 tick. And he's got a club for which he pries a bomb off a tanker of Joker laughing gas, and then he proceeds to beat the Joker.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'm looking at this detonator, the bomb where Batman's like, given what this tanker is probably carrying, I assume the worst, 30 seconds to detonation. I did not notice this, and this is only just me and my weird brain-damaged self. for a half of a second, I'm like, is that Blaster? Why is a Transformer attached to a Joker toxin train? Because it's got the little red wires and the yellow front and the gray. And I'm like, no, that can't be Blaster. He would not be in this universe.
I wish I could make fun of that, folks, but I make comparisons and, hey, doesn't that look like sort of thing all the time, that all my friends are just like, that's nice, JT. He really needs to get a life.
Yeah, pat him on the head. Yeah.
Send him on his merry way.
Yeah, I need to mention, because it's not because I want to down the art. I want to talk about how different this art is. On this specific issue, this first issue, issue 25, Cully Hamner and Marco Santucci are the artists on this. And while I like it, it's very different from any other past tense Batman art we've seen. That as long as you and I have been covering these things on this podcast, that Joker looks a little too happy to me.
Yeah, I mean, I've always enjoyed Cully Hamner's art. His art is similar in a lot of ways to this other artist. It's Ale Garza, who I first discovered on, I think, like the third or fourth volume of like Gen 13 from Wildstorm back in the day. And they've got this, it's very dynamic, very actiony, but at the same time it has a kind of animated, like, and I don't mean just actiony, but like it looks like a cartoon. Like it has that kind of energy to it in a way. And yeah, the Joker doesn't look too bad. He definitely, the art makes him feel, to me, a hell of a lot younger than he should be. Like, I'm not picking up, I always hear, Mr. Hamill's voice when I read the Joker, but I don't really get a whole lot of Mark Hamill Joker from this art.
I'm getting out of his voice, I get Hamill. Out of the art, I get, I want to say, a very skinny version of Jack Napier. Like if Jack Nicholson was not who Jack Nicholson was in '89. Oh my God, that movie's 30 years old this year. Yes, I already knew that, but still.
We're old, folks.
Yes, we are. So they have a fight. Now, I presume, because, hello, it's Mayor Grayson flashing back. This is supposed to be Dick in the Robin suit, except it doesn't really look like Dick Grayson's Robin suit.
Well, from looking at the art, it's straight up a variation on the Tim Drake suit. Okay. Although this is more in line with the finger quotes here, because the continuity of DC Comics is like Swiss cheese going through a crazy straw thrown into a tornado. When we've seen flashbacks in Batman comics since 2011, Dick's original this is Dick's original costume. He never had the booty shorts and the elf slippers.
Right.
So he's always, had the long sleeves, long johns.
Yeah, I guess I was thinking it was going to be more red than green. Yeah. Like, if his arms, if his sleeves were red and just the pants were green, I think that's my only really big different thing.
Yeah.
And I have to have Mark Hamill look at this because I want him to scream out, "You spoil everything!"
Yeah, I mean, when you think about whose voice do you hear when you're looking at this art, I hear, was it Michael Emerson, who played Mr. Finch on Person of Interest, and he voiced the Joker in the Dark Knight Returns movies. I just hear that very almost sadistic, very drier than John DiMaggio's Joker in Under the Red Hood. I hear Michael Emerson coming out of this more than I do Mark Hamill. But yeah, and also just a quick aside for the continuity buffs amongst us, when Tim Drake was first introduced in the Teen Titan comics when the New 52 first pulled out of the station. He had that red, black, and gold, like looked like he was ripping off the Vulture from Marvel Comics kind of suit.
Yep.
And in continuity-wise, that was always Tim Drake's first uniform. It's only in the last few years that he adopted a variation of the red and green with black and yellow capes. So, yeah, moving forward, we get out of the flashback. They're pulling into the station. I do like the conversation that Dick and his daughter had about how it must have been a nightmare to grow up here. Mm-hmm. And then they make that mention where he said, "It's why I never wanted you in the game, Elena." And I was like, wow, like, that was kind of not a huge bomb, but that's like an eye-opener. Like, she knows her dad was Robin, probably knows Bruce was Batman.
Yep.
You know, and
I like that, though. Because, again, it's all about family and bringing in, regardless of what Bruce says about, no, the secrets must stay secret. Regardless of that, and we'll see over time in this arc of Bruce kind of not necessarily giving up on that, but, you know, he's actually encouraging Matt McGinnis to be the new Robin, and Terry is more being like Bruce would be, like, no, he can't do this, no, kind of thing.
But, you know, Matt and Terry go to this murder scene where, was it 22nd, 23rd, and like 3 Jokers have been murdered, and they're like the latest in like this double-digit body count of Jokers around Gotham City. And Matt, I don't think, has seen a dead body or bodies up to this point, and Terry puts him outside, and he's like, "Go scan the perimeter. Villain might come back." And,
yep.
You know, Matt, you know, this is deep into the pool territory for him.
Oh, yeah, it is.
I do like it when, you know, Barb's talking smack to Terry about, you know, bringing him into this, and it's just, you didn't think this was going to happen. Like, Batman always has to have a Robin. I've never seen Batman actively pushing a Robin away before. The way Terry is, like, trying to get Matt out of this.
Because Terry is not Bruce.
Well, yeah.
Terry is, I mean, not to say that Bruce isn't uncompassionate, but Bruce always wants the Robins to face things, and Terry is, especially because it's his brother. It's not just another Robin. It's not just another Jason Todd whose back will eventually be broken or, you know, be hit with a crowbar or something. This is his brother, so he's looking out for him, and that's the difference between, and I know you know this, I'm just saying for my own explanation of it, that's the difference between Bruce and Terry, is that Terry is not, even at this point in his life, he's not as emotional, he's emotionally damaged, because anyone who puts on a costume and goes around at night stopping crime sometimes is most likely emotionally damaged at some point. But he's not as emotionally damaged as 80, 90-year-old Bruce Wayne is.
Bruce? Emotionally damaged? No! So, yeah, they catch up with Commissioner Gordon, and then they take off to the dedication at the Wayne Family Center of Tomorrow. It's, you know, we've got a TV news report going on. It's Jack Ryder, the Creeper, back, which was another thing I really loved about that last arc with the Scarecrow.
Yep, that was very cool.
The Creeper's not been one to be considered part of the quote-unquote Batman family, but he's like that cousin that no one ever really talks about.
And again, it's writers being able to do stuff with characters, like, you know, like I said, you know, Kyle had his thing with Mark of the Phantasm, with bringing back Andrea as the Phantasm. You know, Dan has his thing here, where he brought back, or kind of re-put to the surface, Jack Ryder, a.k.a. the Creeper, and that's a good thing, because, like you just said, it's not often that person is considered a part of the majorness of the Batman mythos.
Yeah, and I love when you look at that shot of the family center. I kind of got a combination of thoughts. Is you got the monorail system going around, and that for some reason knocks me back to that giant He-Man playset, like the Eternia playset that had like the monorail between the 3 towers, and then also kind of shots of Metropolis circa the early 2000s when Brainiac 13, upgraded Metropolis truly into the city of tomorrow, and it had like floating skyscrapers and looking all sci-fi and shit. But yeah, I like this. Matt's all, should we should be out there looking for the guy to whack those guys, and Terry is like, this is more important. And like, I love the fact he's trying to be a big brother. He's trying to raise Matt right, and we can do stuff as much out of suit as in suit. Also, I love the fact that the snarky AI Alfred is back.
Yeah.
He's like, I ought to reprogram to exceed the speed limit. That would be quite illegal. How awful. Facetiousness does not... I love it when Alfred in any form talks smack. And Dick shows up, and I do like that, Commissioner Gordon hasn't seen anything, and Bruce is like, count on it. And I'm just like, dear God, Kevin Conroy, you are immortal. And Dick is...
Good.
I was going to say, Dick and Elena show up, and, Dick's giving Bruce the gears about Matt becoming Robin. We see, how's Damien? It's like, things are better to us, but he's still up in the Himalayas, and we get a shot at Damien.
Yeah.
And as they go to the stage to do the big presentation, I love that spread with, like, all the classic villains in the background, and, you got Luke Fox, like Lucius's son.
Yep.
Bringing him up. And I forget, did they ever name him Luke in the animated series? Like, did we ever get his name, like, when he was the DA and married to Barbara?
No, because he wasn't the DA. That was Sam somebody in Batman Batman Beyond.
Right.
Where Luke shows up is, I think he only gets a mention. If he does it all. No, he doesn't.
I think they mentioned him, Lucius's son, and the company Fox Tekka in the first season.
Right, they do. However, I'm thinking of when Dick graduates. This is not in Batman Beyond. This is in New Adventures, I believe. Old Wounds. When he graduates, they mention Sharon Fox. So they mention Lucius's daughter, kind of thing. And then, I think Luke is only ever mentioned once or twice in Batman Beyond in regards to Fox Tekka. And on a slightly other note, now that I've had a smartphone for X number of years, I use the Google feed and it shows me news stories and whatever else. And there was a news story on there. I don't know if it was from BuzzFeed. I don't know which site it was, BuzzFeed, CBR, or somewhere. Something about, isn't it time for a black Batman, like an African-American Batman kind of thing? And I'm thinking, is nobody remembering that Luke Fox was Batwing? Okay, he wasn't actually Batman. He wasn't, in Bruce's suit, but he was part of the, like, oh my God, how do you not? And anyway...
let's not get on that rickety railroad.
So what I love about this is before we get to that amazing shot of everybody, of all the costumes, a public appearance in the daylight. Should I be looking for the real Bruce Wayne? Good to know I can still surprise you.
Yeah.
I need Lauren Lester and Kevin Conroy to say these lines, damn it.
Yeah, no, I definitely heard Lauren Lester's voice. Yeah. And I hear, like, when you look at, like, Mayor Luke Fox, of all the guys to voice Lucius in the animated series, was it Lou Gossett Jr. from The Batman? I hear his voice coming out of Luke.
Okay.
No particular reason. I think of all the guys the voice, and the many actors the voice. And we had Ernie Hudson in Batman Bad Blood, which I love that. But now something about Louis Gossett Jr. He just has that whatever quality that Kevin Conroy had as Bruce Wayne Batman. Lou has it for the members of the Fox family. But yeah, so he's given the big spiel about, this is a great day, and we see Mr. J in the crowd. Look in a getup that is very reminiscent of, like, the Killing Joke
Oh yeah,
like
very
the hat
much. Yep.
and the shirt and all that.
And the glove. Yep.
And Dick goes, while Luke's doing his spiel, Dick goes into flashback mode and is telling Elena or Eliana. I'm probably going to say both of those interchangeably and not even notice it. But yeah, we see a flashback where he's fighting Mr. Freeze, and I love how Mr. Freeze has got like this belly button ice cannon.
Yeah, that's awesome.
He's got an evil Care Bear stare.
Yep.
And he freezes Bruce, and then Red Hood shows up and begins to, what's the nicest way I put this? Stomp a mud hole in Mr. Freeze and walk it dry.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much.
And it is like the new 52 Rebirth Red Hood. It's not like the original, or like pre-Infinite Crisis and all that.
Yeah, because before New 52 Red Hood would not have a bat symbol on his chest. He has a red sort of bat symbol on his chest, and I don't think he would have that if it was before New 52.
No, before New 52 is like black leather jacket, the helmet, and whatever gray bodysuit he had on underneath. Mm-hmm. So, we get back into it, and then we switch artists, and I'm assuming this is Marco Santucci's art.
Yeah.
And it's a very... abrupt doesn't feel like the right word, but I can't think of a better word. When Bruce steps up and starts... because it's literally only for that page. Yeah. And then we're back to Cully Hamner again. And then back to, Marco's art and such like that. And I love the spread where you see, like, the villains. Like, you see Blight, you see Spellbinder and Karari and Shriek and Payback and Rewire and... God, I can't remember what was it, Torque or the black and white Joker that had Bruce strapped up in the beginning of the series?
That was Terminal.
Terminal, that's it. Torque felt appropriate, but we see all that, and we get to Barb's investigation into another murder, and it's at the old Ace Chemicals factory. You would think in the decades-long existence of Batman that Gotham City might have just finally thrown up their heads. You know what? We're done with this Ace Chemicals. Get the fart out.
Yes, and while I know that's the original chemical company name, just once I want an Access Chemicals. Just once, please. Come on.
Yeah, that would be kind of fun.
Yeah, would be. And it would be different.
Yeah.
Sort of.
And I love the Joker's calling card, like at the murders, like the janitor's like, yeah, it's this was stuck to the door, and it's no one uses my name, no one, and you don't even have to really get a good look at Barb's face. You feel her blood run cold.
Oh yeah, she knows, and yeah, she's scared out of her batsuit. Not literally, but and. What I love about this, what I'm loving about this series, this part of the series so far, is how in the shadows the Joker is. The Joker is being way more... I mean, he is very cunning, but like when he cuts up the train conductor, take tomorrow off. You still don't see his face. You just see the hat and the gloves and the knife. And damn.
Yeah. And I realize, looking at the Joker's outfit, this is much more the classic ensemble, because when you say the Killing Joke, well, that's like the black overcoat with like that very black, straight, almost like Amish type of hat. The purple trench and this hat, this is more reminiscent of like the, foot-long jaw smiling Joker that we had through like the 70s and into the 80s. Kind of thing, like that very classic Joker look. But yeah, he murders the conductor and sends the train out just as Bruce deeds the family center to the city, and Luke pulls out the joke's on you, Brucey.
And the train explodes, destroying the Wayne Family Center. That was some amazing art. That was a great explosion in comics.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, it literally leaves you on the edge of your seat because you don't know who is going to survive. Does anybody survive? That sort of thing. And, you know, Barb's running, you know, I'm going to call the Red House. Call the White House. We're going to get federal assistance. And this is an outfit that is like straight out of The Killing Joke when, you know, Joker busts in Barb's door and, you know, shoots her in the spine.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, why so shocked? Are you saying that Brucey never told you I'm alive?
Yep. And that's where the issue ends, and this is where we pick up that front cover of the trade for issue 26. Yeah, I love that look. I think that look is super cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just that classic red, purple and green suit, you know, as he's playing his trump card, because the Joker trumps pretty much everything in cards.
Pretty much, yeah.
And this issue, you know, we kick over to Brett Booth's art, which I don't hate it. I don't dislike it. I'm just, again, it's a jarring split. Like, you had those 1 or 2 pages that Marco Santucci did in the previous issue, and you know, back and forth between him and Cully Hamner, and then we get right into Brett Booth with Norm Rapmund, according to the indica there on inks. I think the inking is definitely better in this issue right off the hop, because it's not as thick-lined as the previous issue, which kind of throws off my viewing.
I wish that, no disrespect to the other artists, but I really wish this entire arc was all Brett and Norm.
Yeah.
Because I love, ever since... how can I say this without sounding the way it's going to sound? Basically, ever since Brett Booth did a run on New 52 Nightwing and drew his butt, not necessarily because of that, but his art in New 52 Nightwing was the first time I saw his art. And seeing his art here, I love what he does with Batman and Robin. I love what he does with Commissioner. I just wish there was more Brett Booth, Norm Rapamund art in this.
Yeah. I mean, I've been familiar with his art since, like, the 90s, where I think, amongst many things, many artists and writers, he got his big break working through Image and Wildstorm comics into, like, the sale to DC, and then he kind of migrated over, still working very much on Wildstorm titles for the longest time until they closed that line down. But yeah, and his art has only improved. Like, originally, back then, you look at it, the faces look a little longer, the bodies look a little ganglier. I think he's definitely tightened up his overall design and composition. But yeah, so we start off with the Joker trying to shoot Barbara, and I love the shot where she just rips a filing cabinet apart and throws the drawer at the Joker. And she's got every right to overreact like that. I mean, he did shoot her.
Very true.
And then she boots him out the window with, like, a well-placed kick, and she's like, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap. Oh, son of a bitch. And he gets away in a taxi.
Of course he gets away in a taxi. Yeah, I just feel that Brett's art, like, looking where Batman's like, everyone okay? And Bruce like, more or less. That runaway maglev train, it took down the entire complex? I just feel that Bruce and Dick and everybody just look slightly better.
Yeah.
Like, I liked Dick's art. I liked Dick Grayson's design in the first issue. I just feel like it's been improved in this one.
Yeah. Well, and see, that's the thing. I think that was the worst part about that first issue. The first part of the story was it's not that it's bad art. It's just a very jarring, you know, flip-flop back and forth like that. And it takes you out of the moment sort of mentality.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I wonder how they got everyone into the elevator car, because the end of the last issue, you see Terry and Matt flying away with Bruce and Dick and Elena. And then, Jack Ryder comes up looking for a comment, and, I like that Dick's already, I can't believe you gave that kid a Robin suit. You want him to risk being another Jason or getting a bullet to the brain? It's like, dear God, man, you're out in the freaking open. There's probably like a family 5 feet away underneath a concrete tent that just heard you out, Bruce Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
Like, get it together, man.
And I both like and enjoy, or like and hate, that, as we go through this, Terry and I want to say Tim, shit. Terry and Matt go to Old Gotham. Matt's like, everything down here is so old. Old Gotham, Robin. Living down here makes for a hard life. I so wish Old Gotham was not basically the slums of Neo Gotham. I really do wish that.
Yeah, and I do like where, just to skip back from where Dick made mention of bullet to the brain, that is a clear reference to the current continuity of Nightwing, where he got shot in the head by KG Beast and forgot everything except how to kick ass.
Yeah, and he became Rick Grayson. Oh.
Well, there's only... I mean, especially in today's society, they probably called him Rick Grayson because somebody probably is like, well, why do you have to call him Dick? There's some snowflake out there that's writing a thesis on why you shouldn't, like, any guy named Richard shouldn't use the shorthand of Dick.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the new world.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we see Joker sees the news and see there's a new Robin. He's like, how wonderful and perfect. A shiny red and green target. But yeah, and I love, they get there, they find the tunnel, they go searching for survivors. Terry pulls a Spider-Man and, propping up the ceiling to get everyone out.
Yep.
And I love that. It's like, kid, don't go back. That's insane. Not as insane as leaving those people in there.
Yep.
And it's just, okay, you understand why people would be object to having a kid doing this, but at the same time, if he's willing and he's got the armored bat suit, who are we to judge? But, it's not decades from now, nor do we actually have superheroes in the real world.
Yep.
But I love that Barb shows up. She's like, this is more important. And she brings everyone in. It's like, the Joker's alive. Alive.
Yep. And Bruce explains back about Terminal and back in the first volume of Batman Beyond when that happened. So
yeah, and then this confirms, because it was pretty much confirmed in that arc, but this is like 100% confirmation that this is the original Mr. J.
Mm-hmm.
And you see Bruce is contrite. He's like, oh God, like he's finally getting it. It's like, this is kind of his fault, but this is decades and decades later. And I do love the end of the story where the Joker's like, he's like remembering beating up Jason Todd, and he's like, there you are, beautiful. And he's like, he's got the crowbar mounted on the wall.
Yep.
Like
next to basically in the middle of a giant Robin insignia. Time for a sequel.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, folks, he's got this thing strapped to his wall like a big mouth Billy Bass.
Yeah. Thank God that crowbar can't talk.
Yeah, that would just be creepy.
Yes, it would.
But yeah, I mean, so far, it's just... I love the tension. They just keep ratcheting it up with these... The Joker's, he's in scenes, but it's not like the traditional, like traditional comics with the Joker in it, where he's the centerpiece of attention and we follow everything he's doing for the most part. Like, we're getting these bits and pieces, like they're properly, Dan Jurgens is properly building the suspense.
Yeah, Dan Jurgens, he's an amazing writer. I've loved him since we started doing the 2015 Batman. When he started on the 2015 Batman series, Batman Beyond series with Tim Drake in the suit and all that, I've loved it since we've been covering this, and it just gets better and better and better.
Yeah.
It really does.
And never mind that Dan Jurgens is one of my all-time favorite Superman artists. It's the fact that he's been in the industry for so long. This is like when an actor becomes a director on like a TV series or something. Like he's been steeping in all this minutia and culture that, you know, he's finally decided to like try something else, and he's knocking it out of the park.
Yep.
Yeah.
The next issue 27, I believe, yes, 27, is Brett Booth and Norm Rappamund again on Art and Colors. So, there's that. And we get Terry with Melanie to start. Well, Batman flies in, but, you know, so we get the whole thing with Terry and Melanie to realize that they are a couple. I had and had not kind of forgotten that Dana's no longer in the picture. I kind of prefer it this way. Like, maybe they'll get back together at some point. I don't really care, but I like seeing Terry with Melanie more.
Yeah.
Because essentially they are a superhero couple in this future timeline kind of thing.
Yeah.
'Cause...
No, I don't know how you might feel about this, but I mean, if this was Spider-Man, Terry's obviously Peter Parker. I see Melanie as more of a Gwen Stacy and Dana as Mary Jane.
Yeah.
You know, which is kind of analogous to like in the late 90s, early aughts when Mary Jane just left Peter and then was thought to have been blown up by a stalker in an airplane. Just read the wiki on that one, folks. I couldn't explain it if I tried. But yeah, they're getting together, and I got subtle vibes of that scene from The Mask when Stanley and Tina meet in the park before he puts the mask on and promptly loses his shit. But he's like, I can't believe that you hid this from me. And he's like, sorry, you were a criminal.
Yeah.
And then we go to this guy, this Joker, who I thought was Terminal for a moment, just because of that face paint. It's very reminiscent of Terminal's gear.
Yeah, yeah.
And this guy, we've seen all sorts of suicide bombers in the various forms of media we've been exposed to over the year. Mike, did you ever think you'd see a clown suicide bomber?
An
unwilling clown suicide bomber?
Not one with an Apple device attached to his chest with the Joker on it, no.
Well, don't call it an Apple device. They might sue. It's clearly a generic Android pad of some sort.
So he's Googling himself. But yeah, no, I never thought I would see a yeah, no. And dang, that's
that's harsh. I mean, literally the Joker's pissed that the Joker's, ran with his shtick.
Yeah.
And he blows up like a joke shop.
I like how what I do like about this, because it's so different from Return of the Joker. I like that he's pissed about the Jokers. Basically, he sees them as making fun of him, or trying to make bad on his bad name, or make bad on his good name, whatever you want to say that. And he's just completely pissed about it. But then he puts together the throwbacks, the loyal, intrepid throwbacks, and yikes.
Yeah, and you could see, like, okay, maybe Tons of Fun in the Back might be into this. Beetlejuice doesn't look like he give a shit. The girl is just whatever. The guy with the top hat is, I can't believe I agreed to this. And Curly is just, whatever you say, boss.
Yep.
Please don't look at me like that.
Yep.
And honestly, I thought the cigar was going to explode.
I know.
Instantly. Because you see him, like, I love how Brett Booth draws his eyes. He's just like, oh, I've made some poor choices. But yeah, and he's going to, I've got a Ronnie and a Willie and a Duty and a Ruby, but John just doesn't fit.
Nope.
And then you go to Ruby, and, well, she's losing it because she just watched her boyfriend commit suicide.
Mm-hmm.
You're a throwback now, here to help me take Neo Gotham back to the mud hole it's meant to be. Mm-hmm. Like when it was playing old Gotham City, I just love how he precisely, like, okay, I'm starting to hear Mark Hamill out of Brett Booth's Joker.
Mm-hmm. Of course you are. Yeah.
You know, and it's just like the interplay of like proper comic panels with backgrounds versus the Joker in the void, complaining about everything and the way, why can't it be like it used to be? Mm-hmm. And then he shows that he's hijacked some of Terminal's equipment that he was using when he was taking care of Bruce in the original arc, and John, you will be the key to making it work. He's like, I'm here for you. Not anymore, you're not. Or something like that. I can't do voice sound effects very well. When we get back to the Batcave, and I love how Matt's like, let's do this. And he's like, no, wait, son of a bitch. No one says that, but you know that's going through everyone's mind when Matt takes off.
Yep.
I know. What is your overall opinion of Matt to this point?
I think he's young and still naive. Like, he's I don't want to say he's got rose-colored glasses on, because it's not a nostalgia thing, but it's like he still has that belief that things are good. He still has that naivete of things aren't so grim and gritty as they actually are. Yeah. I think he is still learning, which is good. I think that in time, once he faces whatever he's going to face in the future, he will become a better Robin. Yeah. I never personally saw Matt ever getting into the business from the animated series and everything else, and from all the other comics. Like, all the other comics that we've covered, I never really saw it, but now that it's here, I'm hoping that with Terry's direction and Bruce's direction, Matt kind of becomes an amalgam of them both, father and brother kind of thing.
Learn from your forebears and all that, because it's not that I hate Matt. I hated the annoying little shit he was in the animated series.
And then he was just a little kid in that. I mean, he wasn't...
Okay, but when that show came out, I was like, 18, 19, just getting out of high school, still living at home, still had my two younger brothers who I wanted to throttle every day. I wouldn't have played... If I was on the jury, I wouldn't have convicted Terry if he was brought to trial. That's all I'm saying. But... And then overall, like I said, I love Matt, how he's grown and he's become Robin. But in this moment, he is literally 2 steps removed from becoming Bart Allen Impulse.
Oh, yeah.
Like, dude, if Bruce isn't going to spank you, Dick's going to throttle you. Like, slow your goddamn roll.
Yep. Yeah, between Terry and Grayson, I think that Matt can become something more. If Bruce is going to have his way like he normally does, that might be a little much. We get to a point where they've crashed into... Is it the... Oh, it's the Throwbacks place or whatever.
Yeah.
I love the panel. I wish I had a full-on panel here where Batman basically just back kicks one of them. Where's the Joker? Like, just, man.
Yeah, Curly's not going to be eating solid food for a while.
No.
And I realized I made a mistake earlier, unless Mark Bagley filled in on a page or something. Because there's that where Matt tells Terry, what was or Terry's like, what's the target? Matt says novelty shop. Like, that, when you look at it, it is Brett Booth's art, but in that page is like, dear God, man, that looks just like Mark Bagley line work. Like, it's uncanny. But yeah, they get in there, Terry breaks Curly's jaw, at the very least. Matt runs blind into a building and is thrown right back out by the Borg.
Joker Beyond. And that's what happened to John. Yikes.
Yeah. It's like, okay, that's not just getting hit with a battering ram. That's getting hit by a battering ram run by an angry rhino who is on way too much coffee and not enough sleep. Because the way he flew out of that building, like, dear God, how does he have a face?
I don't know. So we end with the reveal of Joker Beyond. And we get on to issue 28. I love the cover. The cover is so cool.
Oh yeah. Just like
Joker hitting Matt and then Terry up with the purple, and all love that. That's so cool.
And in that pose, like from it's that classic Batman, pulling the cape up like that, kind of getting that Dracula pose going on. You see it in an episode of the Batman animated series. The title dress in some of the Batman and detective comics in the 70s had that thing where his cape flowed and just kind of was the background for all that. That is a very, I don't want to, dynamic's not the right word, but just the, how everything comes together there is so nice. And we get into this, and again, Dick, dead horse, no difference.
Yeah, I know.
Matt McGinnis is a kid, and you let him take on the Joker. If anything happens to him, he'll be fine. He has to. But I'm sure there's some small part of Bruce's head is like, get a new song, Like, I understand what Dick's doing. It's just, can we wait until after the horrifying cyborg has been put down before you start bitching again?
Yeah, really.
Like, they don't really have time. I like new Batman, even newer Robin. Meet Johnny, or as I like to think of him, Joker Beyond. It's like, yeah, we got that last issue. And that's the scary thing about this is like, this is like, what if a human was turned into Borg in Next Gen, but could still talk? Because he's like, help. That when I first read this and then reread it in preparation here, that was creepy.
Yeah, very creepy. And then what's even more creepy was talking to someone? Bruce, who?
Yeah.
And just yikes.
Yeah, I love how the arm turns into like a Gatling gun, and then he grows like a grenade launcher. And kind of flash back to like the Trapjaw in the O2 He-Man series, that how his arm would like morph into different weapons and that.
Yep. Absolutely. And damn, this art, I mean, Norm and, I should say Brett and Norm, doing major cool things with these characters. And then I've kind of skipped ahead where Matt has kind of like gone off on his own and he ends up crashing into a dumpster. Well, dumpster diving pays off again. Oh, it's so creepy.
Yeah, and like Terry's fighting, JB up there. I love that thing. It flies? Not like you and Orville have an exclusive on the idea, Wilbur.
Yep.
And again, Dick, we get it. I told you Matt wasn't ready for this, and even Bruce is like, not now. And I love how Elena hasn't said one bleeping word.
Yeah, no.
She's just like, not my monkeys, not my circus.
Yep.
But yeah, the Joker gets his hand on Matt, and I love that. How often does history get a chance to repeat itself?
Yep. And the emotion behind Grayson, basically, you can't be certain. You aren't there, just like you weren't there for Jason. Dad, what are you going to do? What I should have done in the first place. Stop this insane pattern of throwing children into war once and for all.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Is he? My first thought when I first read this is, oh shit! Is he going to suit up?
And again, folks, don't get my harping on Dick Grayson to think I disagree with him. He is completely in the right here.
Exactly.
Like, Batman and Robin is like African warlords and child soldiers. Like, somebody's just got a slightly better reason for doing this shit. But how he's sitting there and he's berating Bruce, you aren't there, just like you weren't for Jason. Oh, and you're such a goddamn saint?
Mm-hmm.
Like, Dick Grayson is like one man bun away from becoming a snowflake. If he keeps bitching about this at every possible opportunity.
He does bitch about it, but he also is to the point now in the story where he's taking action.
Yeah, but a lot of the people that I call snowflakes that bitch like this very rarely, if ever, take action. So
but this is Dick Grayson. This is not your everyday person. So luckily, and the way he takes action is by bringing the Batmobile.
Yeah, and Terry's fighting, Joe Borg.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that where he hits the taser in his belt, and the Joker says, "You cheated again!"
Yeah.
Now you see why I had to upgrade. If you want to up the ante, I will too. And it's like, is he sucking stuff out of that pipe, or is he blowing Joker toxin into it? I can't tell.
I think he's blowing Joker toxin into it.
Yeah. And it's like, Dick Grayson, out of fucking nowhere. It's like, and I just love that shot how he, like, tears apart Joe Borg, and it's like that scene in, like, a horror movie where the supernatural killer gets run over by a forklift.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I like how the Joker taunts him, and unfortunately, little Robbie is a bit too busy to answer.
Mm-hmm.
I love that last shot. He's like, said, I'll bring all the upper crusters down here to their level so everyone can live together in peace, harmony, and equal wretchedness. And just that shot of him by throwing a party, one in which the Joker, that be me of course, celebrates the most famous, greatest day in the history of Gotham, complete with a blood and DNA-stained commemorative Cobra. Almost ran out of breath there, and I just love that shot.
Yeah, Brett and Norm are killing it. Brett's killing it on the art. Norm is killing it on the colors. At first, I had an issue with the constant change of Joker's hairline. But after a while, I got used to it. And I love all of the up-close shots on his face because they all remind me of the up-close shot in the real version of Return of the Joker, the uncut version where he actually... no, not the uncut version. The actual the uncut version is the real version. The fake version where he gets electrocuted, that electrocuted face.
Mm-hmm.
Like, every up-close shot in this story so far, I'm like, when's he going to get electrocuted? When's he going to get electrocuted? Because I'm like, if he doesn't get electrocuted, then damn.
Yeah.
And that is where we leave off. As you said, that's the last panel for issue 28. Issue 29... Once again, cover, oh my god. So good. Yeah,
the artist on this one is Pascal Ferry and Dave McCraig, artist and colorist on that. Pascal Ferry, like, he's got, I forget where I see him before. I think he did a few issues of, like, Ultimate Fantastic Four back in the day. I might be wrong about that. But it's just got this, like, there's not a lot of solid black lines, and it's like the color, like, it's just so well composed. Like, especially with, like, that, I don't know if it's a hologram or it's like something in Terry's head in the background. You see, like, the classic Batman cradling Jason Todd's body.
Yep.
That sort of thing. And we get into it. And the Joker is just... If there's one character I always love to hear talking smack, it's Mr. J. Like, straight up.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there. Clearly, he's threatening and trying to annoy Matt into submission. And I love the Damian Wayne brand scowl that Matt has on his face.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, you do not understand who you're talking to right now.
Yep.
I mean, what do you think of the Joker's smack talk here?
I like it. I think it's interesting. You know, his whole ending part of it here. Today, the time has arrived for my comeback to prove that I wasn't a one-hit wonder. That I'm the very best there is, the very best there ever was. And I'm like, oh man, that's Bret the Hitman Hart as the Joker. Holy crap.
I was just like, yeah, just please put on the reflective shades, please.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, maybe we can commission Bret and Norm to do that with this version of the Joker. Just have it like a Joker Bret Hart crossover.
just see like the pink and black tight, like the legs laying in from off panel, and the Joker putting on the leather jacket and the shades, and he's like, I don't see how this works.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And I love that Matt is not gonna, for the most part, at least at this point, he's not gonna give in to him. Think again, Joker. Batman will be here any second. Old bats didn't come the first time. New bats won't come now.
Yeah. And it's not, again, like the Joker and Dick are like, Batman wasn't there. Yeah, but he was trying to be. Also, fuck you, Dick Grayson. Yeah. I'm sorry, maybe it's just the fact that I'm a comic fan outside of this reality. It's just like, dude, deal with your own guilt. Don't heap it on Bruce. You know, that dude's got enough self-loathing for 5,000. I still love the fact that Joker, he's not an idiot per se, but you blew up Bruce Wayne's building and you're asking about a guy named Bruce.
Yeah.
1 plus 1 is not 5. You know, although I did this, like, I'll make you talk. Or better yet, scream.
Scream. Mm-hmm.
It's like, God, why can't you just have Mark Hamill's face?
And I do love with Bruce and Elena where he's trying to get up and he hates that he can't go out and help. Old age, it can be quite a curse, Elena.
I like she's at least. I think Elena at least understands why her dad the way he is and why what Bruce is. It's not that he doesn't care, but that he doesn't have that luxury right now. So she's a little more understanding. There must be something more that we can do, and that whole thing. She's at least realizes that there is a place for everybody and everything in this family. And then the Joker takes over the TV.
Yep. That casket he couldn't have. If he did, I will kill him with my bare hands. Oh my God, Dick Grayson just turned into Megatron.
Yeah. I still like that, how the Joker, it's all mind games, and he beats up the coffin, pulls Robin out. And I love how just at the last moment where Bruce is like throwing himself, he's banging the Joker, and then he's like, wait, I can feel you out there, old bat. You're watching, hiding. Put the kid in the casket and bring the lighter fluid. And then Dick's like, he like triangulates the signal. And then Bruce doesn't even care. Like, he's just like, tell him, I don't care. I'm ready to die. Yeah. And I love the fact that I think all of the throwbacks are like traumatized. Like, they saw what happened to Johnny, and they're like, we're doing whatever the hell he says. Like, yeah, let's throw a kid into a coffin and light him on fire with gas and lighter fluid. Our ass isn't getting on that.
Yeah. And then when Batman and Dick and Grayson show up, leave him alone.
Oh, yeah.
One guy can't take us all. Thing is, there are two of us.
Yeah. And I like...
I just wish Grayson would have suited up in some sort of new Neo Gotham Nightwing costume or something.
Or at the very least, do like Terry did in, what is it, Ghost in the Machine episode, where he takes like the bat belt and he just takes the Nightwing domino mask.
Yeah.
Like something like that. But then again, as he is wont to do, being from the circus, Dick Grayson tends to leap first and kick ass second.
True.
But I like how, again, this is what happens when you piss Batman off, folks. Like that, what's his name? Beetlejuice. That dude is not getting up for 3 days. He's going to be in a lower reading group, and I'm pretty sure he's going to refer to everyone as the nice man. That dude's messed up. And, well, I'm pretty sure Tons of Fun's going to, like, bit his tongue off or something when Dick booted him in the back. It's like, dear God, this is why you don't piss off the Wayne family.
Mm-hmm. And then we get the biggest reveal of all, the fact that all of that was pre-recorded because there's nobody in the casket. And the Joker has Matt in the cave.
Yeah, it's... Now, did he literally, like, after when I called him out in his head, he's like, wait, I blew up the... No. Bruce Wayne? Like, literally, that had to be his train of thought.
Yeah, that had to have been. And then as we get further into the cave part of the story, should have listened to the man's sweets. Commissioner's daughter, mayor's daughter, you're all the same to me.
Yeah. And we see that, you know, Bruce has still got it, and I kind of flash back to that, the very first episode of the animated series where Bruce was fighting the Jokers. Hey, don't you know who we are, old man? We're the Jokers. He's like, sure.
Sure you are.
Yeah. Like, just that, oh, man, it would have been so magical to see Kevin Conroy in the recording studio for that moment. Just to see the grin on his face.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so they're going back and forth, and, well, the cane's no match for a crowbar.
Right.
And, ooh, I love it when Joker goes in for the kill. Bruce stabs him with the broken end of his cane, and then Bruce picked up a gun? The hell?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how I feel about that, but
like, this is...
I understand it's...
Batman's been, like, Bruce has been driven to this point. This isn't like Arkham Knight, where, you know, he's infected with the Joker and the latest batch of Scarecrow fear toxin, and, you know, because he's so mentally traumatized. Like, Bruce willingly pulled the Joker's gun and is going to drop him like a bad habit. And that's not... again, this... What happens where the Joker has a heart attack. He's like, not me, not now. This is like Return of the Joker. That's not funny. Death scene.
That's not funny at all.
Yeah.
And okay, so he has a heart attack. While some normal, non-psychotic humans do come through heart attacks and do survive them, I would like to think that this, as I said at the beginning of this episode, that this was Dan Jurgens' run at his Joker story, at finishing the Joker story he kind of started at the beginning of this 2016 part of his run. And I'd like to think that they're going to move past this. Will the Joker show up at some point in the future? Maybe. We don't know. For right now, he had a heart attack. He's dead.
Yeah. So when we get into the issue 30 here, I mean, when you look, first of all, that cover.
That cover. Oh my God, that cover.
You know,
just
again, borrowing a little bit from Spider-Man history. You know, this is not exactly Spider-Man history, but this is like tantamount to that famous cover where Spider-Man no more and Peter's tossed the red and blues in the garbage and walking away all head hung low down the alley. It's on par. I feel it's on par with that in terms of symbolism. Like, that's hardcore. And we get into Matt has this nightmare, and it's not that I never heard Mark Hamill's voice, and especially with Brett Booth's art in the previous few issues, but in that panel he's like, I mean, come on, Bruce, you couldn't have expected otherwise. I'm the Joker, the fucking Joker. Like, that's that panel, that art right there, that is Mark Hamill.
Yep. Yeah.
And like how Matt, like, stamps down the fear, don't be afraid. Don't ever be afraid. And don't let them see it. Mm-hmm. And then the autopsy is over. Barb is talking to them in the Batcave, like, yep, Joker's dead. Like Disco. Yep.
And this one is Doc Shaner and Jordi Belair on art and colors. I like it. It's a little strange, but that beginning part, but I love the way that they do Matt's drawing when he wakes up, and I love the lightning strike. All his lightning strike needs is Batman next to it, and it'd be Dark Knight Returns.
Oh yeah,
but
I would have to talk to Evan Shaner and ask him if they just like did some digital trickery and put the Dark Knight Returns lightning bolt in the background. Like that's too perfect. Also, it's the his inking on this, because I don't think he did the inking on the Johnny Quest Future Quest series that ran a couple of years ago. I really love his art in that, but I think the inking here, it's a little too dark in some parts. I think he had a different inker there, and it just kind of made you feel like you're watching those old school Hanna-Barbera action hero cartoons.
Yeah. I think with this, starting with Matt's wake-up scream and the lightning strike, looking at that entire panel, with how shaded and shadowy the bed pillows are and the sheets, and how Matt is, and how the shadows play across with the lightning, and then the close-up on his face, like, that actually reminds me of, like, a young Val Kilmer like, if they ever showed Val Kilmer as a kid in Batman Forever, which they did, but it wasn't really Val Kilmer. It was Bruce Wayne.
Young Bruce Wayne.
You know what I mean, though? Like, this image of Matt saying,
yeah.
Crap, settle down, McGinnis. It was a dream. Like, this is where I see Matt growing. This is where I see him, like, he's gone through all of this. He's gone through the trauma of being the Joker's prisoner. I don't see him, and I hope he doesn't get as dark as Bruce was, but I hope he starts taking it more seriously than he was beforehand.
And it's a really little thing for me, but with Shaner's art here, when you see that reflection of him in the mirror, like, that's like spitting image Dick Grayson at this age. Like, he is Robin. Yeah. He's been through a crucible, not the crucible, but a crucible. And I kind of love. So we get back to Elena and Dick and Bruce and Barb in the cage. I love how Barb's like locking up the Joker's corpse in the morgue, and it just seems like such a techno-futuristic Potter's field. Like, these drawers are probably all filled with stiffs and John Does and people no one's gonna miss. And I love how Matt comes downstairs. And he's like, you're talking about my brother. He's gone off as Batman, some dangerous mission alone. And, Dick's like, no, he's just rolling up the Jokers. It's all good. Go back to bed. And I like how Matt, as much as he's like all gung-ho and he needs me. And again, this is where Dick Grayson kind of earns, or not earned, he didn't lose anything for me, but where he kind of sort of redeems himself for all his bitching and always yelling at Bruce about, yes, we get it, Dick, bullet to the head, crowbar, sing a different tune. And, like, they're setting up to talk to him about, like, maybe you shouldn't be Robin. Like, they, for the first time ever, Bruce is probably taking a step back and, like, do we really need a kid? Although...
Yeah. I love. Go ahead.
I was just saying, if you're talking about like that one-page panel of Terry standing on Bruce the Gargoyle, and it's just that with the lightning in the background, it's like,
Yep.
God, this is why I love comics.
Yes, exactly. And then I love the up close shot a little more. Like, yes, that is very cool, but the one where it's like, fools, John must have been honored to get morphed into one of the Jay's special agents. 4 times up. I just love that furrowing of the brow and just that, and then he breaks in the window. My favorite panel out of this entire issue to this point is Nasty Canasta. Ting tang tang. I'm like, hey, because all I can think of is Daffy Duck versus Nasty Canasta.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah, and like I get like Dick's concern, but it's on Bruce. It's like Terry doesn't have a role in this, Dick. Like, you know,
Yeah.
you blame everybody. You can't just cherry pick who's at fault here. You know,
Yeah.
Bruce is at fault. Terry is at fault. Matt's at fault for being an irresponsible little so-and-so. And again, just that whole, he almost killed my daughter. Yeah. And without sounding too callous, he's killed a lot of daughters, Dick. Doesn't make her that special. You know. But I do love the dialogue over Matt, you know, racing through Gotham to Terry.
I love his suit. I love, like, as much as I love the sleeker version of it from Brett and Norm, I love the almost animated style of it here.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love the pull-out image of where they're saying, that's your rule, Bruce, and it doesn't work for everyone. My rule says that we all find our way in our own style when we're ready. Hello, it's Robin Returns, because, again, that blue lightning across the sky with the gargoyle to the left, like, wow, absolutely awesome.
Yeah. And it's not disingenuous to have Dick Grayson saying that, but, you know, when we're ready. But that, the way he's saying that and then follows up with, and putting a child in costume setting off to face gunfire and mayhem should never be the answer. Well, Put's calling the kettle black here a little bit. You know, and how is Matt going to know when he's ready? Because you're clearly going to be there saying you're not ready. You're never going to be ready. Like, you can't, you know, live someone's life for him. And it would be a terrible shame and tragedy if Matt died in the course of being Robin, but he has to make that call for himself. Like, you can be concerned all you want, don't get me wrong. But yeah, you know, just as they end that, and then you see the roof explodes, and Nasty Canasta, you know, comes up, and he's got like this weather vane for an arm. I totally didn't notice that he had a cyber arm in the previous page there.
Oh, hey. It's an April Moon reference. The cyber arm is the cybernetics that the Doctor did. Hey, who knows? Maybe that Doctor's, because we never saw what happened to the Doctor at the end of that episode. He just faded off into nowhere. So I love how it shows that Matt just kicks his arm off itself, like, losers, you followed a demented freak. Like, it just shows him swiping at the guy's arm, and automatically it pops off.
Yeah. And I love how Matt, like, okay, maybe he isn't ready. I'm not saying he was ready already. It's just, it's not your call, Dick. And I love how he piles in. He's dealing with the trauma and the anger, and I thought he got clipped by one of the buzzsaws from Rummy, where he's got the buzzsaw gauntlets, and start flashback to some old Daredevil issues with Gladiator, because that's pretty much Gladiator's shtick. And then just Terry back off. And, okay, Rummy's not going to be walking when he wakes up from the look of that hit? Because
no,
pretty sure a spinal column or two got snapped there.
Looking at where the Batarang is thrown, where they're thrown, and where they hit him, the top one hits him at basically the base of the neck. So yeah, that's not going to be good. I love Matt and Terry here. I had this. You should have stayed home. No, you didn't. You guys always argue like this.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah, and I like how, like, okay, I know her name is Hearts, but this is like Harley 2.0, clearly.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
You know, got some Margot Robbie going on here. And how she, like, okay, clearly Matt is not in his right mind, because if they had faced her on any other day, he would have taken her down. But also, I think he's doing thinking with that other brain.
Well, he is still a little kid.
Yeah.
And luckily, a Batmobile shows up with a guy in some orange glasses. Who? Someone who knows better. And should have stopped this insanity in its tracks long ago.
Yeah, and I again, it's not that I disagree with anything that Dick said. It's just, like, maybe it's just me and my unresolved issues that I always wanted to be a superhero as a kid. You know, so I'm like, I keep going back. I agree with Matt. I agree with Dick. I agree with Matt. I agree with Dick. And they go back to the cage and they're all laying it down, and
yeah,
you know, it's everyone's like they're trying to deal with this, and you know, going forward, we'll see the repercussions of this conversation.
Oh my God, the end of this where Bruce is like, it's done, the Joker, as are the Jokers, letting those maniacs establish themselves as a force was a mistake. I saw the danger in that when the first of the clown's imitators came along. Harley Quinn? Whatever happened to her? Question mark.
Yeah, and I love how this is like Nana Harley from Return of the Joker. Like, you see that silhouette, she's got the bun and the glasses, and
oh yeah,
you know, you hear Arlene Sorkin or Tara Strong. Like, Arlene's the best, but I like Tara too.
I do love Tara as Harley, but old Harley will only, until I hear Tara's version of old Harley, Arlene Sorkin will only ever be old Harley. And yes, they do put a question mark on the end. Because, you know, I mean, it is a good story. It is a really good story, and it's an interesting story. As I said earlier, I'm hoping that it is the final joke for now, at least until maybe issue 50 or 60 or however long this series is going to run. Because that's the sad thing, folks. Batman Beyond series in the DC universe don't really get a lot of issues. Well, sadly,
they've got they're up to issue 35 right now, so they have to make it at least another 6 months to beat Batman Beyond 2.0's record of 40 issues.
Yep, and I do know solicitations are out for up to, I think, 38 at this point. So
yeah, but yeah,
there is that.
I love that, you know, the end question mark. I love it when, like, old sci-fi horror movies, like, they end, you know, with a question mark, because you don't know. I mean, this is the future. The Joker survived by implanting his DNA into a microchip and setting it into Tim Drake's neck. Yeah. You know, and if we buy that little gem, then we could buy the Joker someday coming back. Although, the way, seeing how old Harley is, unless they get cloned into, like, some sort of youthful cyber bodies, or they turn into Archie Bunker and Edith.
Yeah.
One of the two.
Yeah, I am very stoked to see the next storyline. I love what Dan Jurgens has done so far. I've loved almost all of the art. I was a little hesitant on the art in the beginning of this, but all of Brett and Norm's stuff, absolutely love that. Whatever they're doing with Falseface and this new villain Split, and I don't want to say too much about Split, because even though people who are listening to this may have read the solicitations like we do, they may not have, so I don't want to reveal too much about what kind of villain Split is. But I'm very excited for the next arc.
Yeah. And
I don't know when we'll cover that, but I'm very excited for the next arc.
I know when we'll cover it. Decades from now.
Exactly.
Although, if you go further in the trade, past the story, you get some of the alternate covers.
Yep, the art gallery and then the designs for...
Yeah, I'd say my favorite alternate cover is Batman 26 by Dave Johnson. It's just, Batman silhouetted against like a flock of bats, and the gargoyle is like the Joker. And I love that art. It's very clean, dynamic. It really reminds me of... I think it's Matt Wagner, who did stuff like Grendel and Mage the Hero from Dark Horse Comics, both very excellent series to get into.
Right.
And then there's the 28 cover by Chris Stevens and Sonny Go, which the name is Drew Struzan, which I meant for like issue 26 cover in this. It evokes the painted movie posters. One of the gems of going to movie theaters when I was a kid is seeing these awesome posters.
Yep.
And then we get the designs from Cully Hamner and Shaner and backgrounds and all that. And this is a 5.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely a 5. I mean, if I'm really being critical and analytical, I wasn't a big fan of the artists in the first issue. I like it. It's cool. It's different, but it wasn't. I like my art to be smooth in certain places, especially with this new futuristic stuff for Batman Beyond. So if I was really gonna criticize it, I would give it a 4.5. But overall, the story was amazing. Absolutely loved it. Very, very cool. Very interesting. And I cannot wait again for the next issue's arc and everything else. Coming up for the final 2 weeks of September here, folks, Ryan and I did Star Trek vs. Green Lantern Volumes 1 and 2 from IDW and DC Comics. Those have already been recorded. I will ask you briefly, have you read those?
I have.
What are your general, thoughts, feelings on them in, a minute or less?
They are great. Everyone should read them.
There you go.
I mean, just slightly longer than that. And I've gone over this on my own podcast, The Comic Connoisseurs, with Ben and Red and JT. Yep. I love alternate universe stories, like that whole thing with Dark Knight's Metal and the Dark Multiverse. In the New 52. I know they're not calling it the New 52 anymore. It's just that's how I refer to this iteration of DC. I love What If. I love DC's Elseworlds. I love these alternate universe things. And when you take characters like the crew of the Enterprise and the Green Lantern Corps, it's not quite peanut butter and jelly, but whatever it is, it's delicious.
It really works. I am a casual Star Trek fan at best. I'm not as hardcore as you or Ryan Merkley or Steve Megatron or Mike Dodd or Alex Ricci or anybody else that we podcast with. I'm casual at best. I grew up watching TNG, that kind of thing. I watched Deep Space Nine, that kind of thing, but I'm casual at best. I'm even a casual Green Lantern fan at best, because for me, honestly, and I will say this next week, folks, so sorry for repeating myself, I don't need Jesus Jordan, because my exposure to the Green Lantern Corps was Jon Stewart and Kyle Rayner.
Yeah.
Hal's good, but he's not my Green Lantern, and that's perfectly okay. So,
yeah. No.
Everyone's a fan of something, but, we don't all have to be fans of the same thing.
Exactly. I mean, so. I know a certain fans who have boycotted Green Lantern from now until the heat death of the universe because of that one time Hal Jordan kissed an alien girl who looked like she was 14 and willed herself into the body of a 30-year-old, but she was already 200 years old. And, everyone's... You never know where anyone's personal line is until you've crossed it. So.
Yeah, exactly. All right, folks. I think that's going to do it for us. Where can people find you online, sir?
Well, like I said, you can find me online every couple of weeks on the Comic Connoisseurs podcast with Ben the host and Red Ink. Most of the time we don't disagree about anything. Or sorry, most of the time we don't agree.
You want to rephrase that?
Sometimes we actually do agree. But you can find me there, and you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at GT from Saskatoon.
I'm at TFG1Mike on Twitter. You can follow the Pullbag at the Pullbag on Twitter, as well as at Geekcast Radio for all the network updates. Be sure to listen to our podcasts on Apple and Google Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, and any other podcatching clients that you use, but we prefer you use Spreaker, as that's the home of where all our files exist. As I said a moment ago, Star Trek versus Green Lantern, it's actually not versus, it's Star Trek Green Lantern, Volume 1 and 2, coming up over the next 2 weeks here inside the Pullbag. In October, potentially, Joe Reed and I will return for Superman Year 1, Number 2. And then Steve Megatron will be back for Star Trek Mirror Broken. And then hopefully if Steve, Ryan, and I can get together, because it's all time zones, folks. And time zones, unless it's Eastern, it sucks. 375 will be Star Trek versus Transformers. After that, who knows? I do have a schedule planned, but I don't know who's going to be on or what's going to be happening. I'm not even sure. So I know two things are happening in November. Ryan and I are going to talk Star Wars 2015 Volumes 1 and 2, and then Optimus Solo and I are going to finish off Back to the Future Volume 5, because those are episode 377, because 1977 for Star Wars, and 378 for Back to the Future. I don't know why I did that, but it should be 379, because that was 89, not 88. Damn it. Anyway, make your great escape into comics, and we will catch you next time here inside the Pullbag.
These guys at the GCRN would make great Green Lantern Corps members. Seriously. Who are these guys?
You've just heard the latest episode of The Pullbag, the GCRN's first comic review and discussion podcast. There are several ways to get in touch with us and leave feedback for the show. You can visit the website, geekcastradio.com, where you can comment on the episode and all of our different podcasts. You can rate and leave a review for the show on iTunes. Be sure to leave us feedback. Become a fan of us on Facebook, facebook.com/thepullbag. Send us an email, feedback at geekcastradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at thepullbag and at geekcastradio. So until next time, make your great escape into comics and unleash the geek in you.